Welcome to our webinar, The Path to a High Performance IT. My name is Mike Jones, and I'm your host. Today I'd like to share some interesting insights that the teams here at OutSystems have gathered over the last couple of years in looking at various size IT shops and some of the key challenges they face on their path to becoming a high-performance IT. So let's start by looking at some of the major challenges that we tend to see. Every organization we talk to is faced with a lack of resources and skills. That's just a given. In addition, they're all consumed with the challenge of keeping the lights on, or KTLO. We're hearing more and more about this in the press, the news, everywhere. And then last but not least, for all of them, the concept of custom development, building a custom application, or today even more pervasive is a mobile application, is considered to be risky and often is out of reach for many development shops, simply because of the first two challenges. So when we look at this, and we've been studying this for some time now, we actually see the elephant in the room. There's a very, very common challenge that every one of our prospective customers faces, but they don't always see it. And what I'd like to do is shed some light on this over the next few minutes. So, to get started, let me just lay out the basic challenge that we see. It's pretty straightforward. It's the fact that change, and we're talking about applications, the cost of changing an application is the real problem. So to get into this, what I'd like to do is ask everyone who's listening to take a second and think about the last project that they were part of that went to production. Whether it was, recently, a year ago, whatever, but the last project that went to production. And think about how much it actually cost. My guess is that you all are all nodding and thinking, oh, okay, I remember, that was a good project. It was pretty big. It was a little late maybe, or it was right on time. It was a great project, and it cost X. The point I want to make here is that we typically know how much it costs to build the initial application. Now let me ask you a tougher question. How much will you spend this year maintaining that application? Now, if I'd asked you to write that down, you're probably going to have to scratch your head and think a little bit. And my guess is you probably don't know. Don't feel bad. It's a fairly common reaction. I've been asking people all over the world, literally, who knows how much you spend on an annual basis to maintain existing applications? Usually I get asked questions like, well, it depends if it's a package, it's going to be different than if it's a SaaS application or if it's something we built in-house. But you know what? They really don't know. And we didn't know either. So we went and looked for some research, and we stumbled on some work that the folks at Gartner Group had done. And what Gartner found was that regardless of the nature of the application, whether it was a package implementation, a SaaS app, or a homegrown application, the percentage of the initial cost to get that application put into production versus what they spend on an ongoing annual basis was pretty much the same. And that percentage was surprising, I thought. In the best case scenarios, an application is going to cost you on an ongoing basis 42% year after year of the initial investment. So I'm going to let that sink in for a second. If you look at my example, let's say we spent $100,000 or $1 million. Let's pick a big project. We spent $1 million to get this new package in production. And I know for many of you guys listening, that's a small number, but $1 million. That means in year 2, and year 3 and 4 and 5, actually out through 15 years, you're going to spend $420,000 a year to maintain that. Now think about how many applications you have in your portfolio. Think about what your overall IT budget is, And now you understand the challenge. Every new piece of software you deliver adds on. It's like the old football game called pile on, remember? At some point in time, the kid on the bottom is going to get crushed. And for most of us in IT, we're starting to feel like, if we don't already feel like, the kid on the bottom. So, this 42%, what's it made up of? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We should know this. It's made up of enhancement requests. I have a great example. For those of you guys who know OutSystems at all, and many of you listening to this have been to our website, you looked around a little bit. About, 3 or 4 months ago, we released a new version of our community. This is where all of our developers come and collaborate. It's where our Forge is. Anyway, IdeaBox, all kinds of stuff is there. It's cool. We rebuilt that, basically. It was about 3.5, 4 months ago. We currently have another project as big as the original project to enhance some of the Forge capabilities as we're getting ready to release the next version of our product. So we're in we're in the first year after it went live, and we're already making a significant investment in this brand new application. So this is very common. We're constantly faced with enhancements, especially for anything that adds differentiating business value. So most of your custom apps fall in this. A lot of your SaaS packages and the software you purchase fall into this category. Of course, there's maintenance costs of some minor bug fixing and things like that. And of course, operations. So there's the operational folks who monitor all your applications, manage your storage, your backup, all that kind of stuff. They add into that overall percentage. So we think the elephant in the room is the fact that software change over time is a real impediment to most IT organizations' ability to keep up with business demand, because you're spending all your time and energy maintaining existing stuff. So, with that said, what are the real cost drivers? Well, the first cost driver is the actual cost of initial development, whether it's a package implementation and configuration, custom development, it doesn't really matter. When you're building, though, you had some additional challenges, right? Hand coding is complex, it's error-prone and slow, it's risky, and the biggest area of challenge is usually integrations. Think about how many projects you've been on where the guys could write the code, but they couldn't get the folks who maintain the legacy stuff to give you access or appropriate access to the pieces that you need to get the job done. Integrations are always risky. Of course, then there's a maintenance challenge. This is that 42%, right? The real problem here is that when I hand code an application, the dependencies are typically unknown. So making a change becomes error-prone, buggy, and very, very risky. Also, when I make a change, lots of times we don't understand the overall architecture because we either outsource the development or the team that built it is no longer here maintaining it. So therefore, we miss out on handling non-functional requirements correctly. We may mess up some performance capability that was built in we didn't understand. Of course, there's security, portability, scalability. All of these issues tend to really show up when we start trying to change something that's already in production. And then last but not least, on the operational front, things are complex. You know, I had a guy tell me the other day, says, you know what, I miss the days of COBOL. Everything was pretty simple. And quite frankly, from that perspective, they were simple. Everything was sort of in one language in one place and wasn't all that hard. Today, with modern web and mobile web applications, you've got to keep up with, all the code, all the JavaScript, all your HTML, your database changes. You got to write all the appropriate scripts to put that code in the right places, get it compiled appropriately, etc. It's very, very complex. So operations has a huge challenge, especially as we're trying to embrace a much more rapid delivery cycle. I'm doing more iterative type development. This puts a lot of stress on the operations team. Compounding that stress is that in many cases we skimp on, once again, some of the non-functional requirements, which means the operational guys are left holding the bag without the tools that they really, really need. Things to help them understand when something goes wrong. They don't have good audit trails. They don't understand how for a given application to go through the troubleshooting processes, etc. So these are the fundamental cost drivers. Now, At OutSystems, we think we can help you address these challenges. We're not the only technology out there, but we think we have one of the best solutions for getting on top of these fundamental problems of software change. First, we can help you deliver the application much better, much faster, for a lot lower cost than you can any other way in the market today. We do this by having a model-driven development environment. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Mike, come on, this is a RAD tool, right? Well, it is a RAD tool, but it's a modern-day RAD tool. It's not your grandpa's RAD package. What I mean by that is that while it's model-driven, we don't just generate some code out the back end and leave it to you to figure out how to get it to production. We handle the end-to-end delivery of an application. So it's no longer about coding. It's about delivering applications for your business, and that's where the Agile platform excels. In addition to that, we know that our platform needs to be extended to support integrations, custom code, whatever it might happen to be. So we make those integrations very, very simple from day one. Now, when it comes time to maintain the application, that's where the Agile platform will let you sing. This is where we can really start to impact that cost curve. Maintenance is dramatically simplified because of our built-in dependency analysis. We all know how complex an application gets, especially when we start writing things by hand. And when it comes time to change it, there usually isn't great documentation. There's a lot of lines of code to wade through to make sure that whatever change we're going to make doesn't break something else. All of that goes away with our solution. Our True Change Engine immediately tells you when you're making a breaking change. In addition, it tells you what you've got to fix if you want to go forward with that change. So we dramatically reduce the risk and the impact of your maintenance cycles. In addition, when you're making that change, all the non-functional requirements are handled for you. You never have to worry about messing up your security, your architecture, your scalable capabilities, etc. All of that is handled for you. And then last but not least, we really help on the operations side of things. It's surprising but true. We actually make your operational teams much more efficient. You've all heard about the concept of DevOps. Well, the Agile platform truly makes a handoff between dev and operations simple and painless. So deployments are automated. Impact analysis doesn't run just on the working application. It runs across your application portfolio. So the risk of breaking another application with something you're putting into production goes away. And when something does go wrong, when there's a hot spot, your operational teams will have all the tools at their fingertips that they need to help understand the problem, get it resolved, and make sure your business continues to run smoothly. So that's how we help. This is what the platform looks like. It's made up of 4 major components. One is called Service Studio. It's really our integrated development environment. It's where you do all the development and change. It's actually very easy to learn. I was talking with a group of new customers, a smaller shop actually, only 10 developers. And those guys, with 1 week of training, were able to grasp the platform. They were all JavaScript guys, JavaScript guys. They were able to grasp the platform. And today, 4 months later, they've delivered over 6 applications for their business. And some of them weren't trivial. So it's very easy to learn. Service Center and Lifetime are the 2 components that streamline deployment and management. And Integration and Studio is where we help you extend the platform to get access to all your legacy applications, any existing data structures you need, whether it's AS400 to the mainframe. Integration Studio will let you extend the platform to work within your environment in a seamless, integrated way. So you might be wondering what it looks like. Well, this is the IDE. This is Service Studio. It really covers all 4 major layers of any modern application. It's got a built-in business process capability. This is a full-function BPM solution. It lets you lay out your workflows, includes integrations with your email system, etc. So it's very easy to design a workflow with appropriate notifications, etc. Of course, we have a UI designer. It's very much a what you see is what you get UX design tool. We've actually been investing heavily in this capability. We have training programs, checklists, all kinds of tips and techniques to help our customers deliver highly usable, beautiful applications the first time. So you can build web applications. Of course, if you need mobile, we have a mobile designer as well. The beauty of this is that with the same skill set that you use to build a web app, you can now build a mobile app when you employ the Agile platform from OutSystems. So mobile development, dramatically simplified. And of course, all your business logic is written in a visual metaphor, so it's very easy to understand, and more importantly, it's very easy to change. Of course, there's a database management layer, so you can define all your new tables. Any existing tables you can bring in, understand how they relate, read them, write them based on the permissions that you're granted through Integration Studio when you set up the integration. So all 4 layers, one solution. Now, of course, when it comes time to deliver that application, one of our key differentiators is the one-click publish capability. So with a single click, the model will be confirmed to be consistent, all the code will be generated, and a working application will be deployed on your behalf with a single click. No work necessary. Now, when it comes time to manage that application in your overall infrastructure, this is where a lifetime component comes into play. Lifetime allows you to understand your infrastructure. So dev, quality, pre-production, production, however you decide to configure your development environment for all the way from development to production. You'll notice here that we're showing development and quality is a .NET stack, but it's running in the Amazon cloud, whereas pre-production and production are on-premise. That's a very common scenario. The Agile platform is completely cloud-enabled. Now, when it comes time to manage your application portfolio, Lifetime gives you a view into your environment and the versions of applications running on each step within your deployment process. So, for example, expenses. You see that version 1.3 is running in development, 1.1 is in QA, and the application is not in production yet. So this is where you would seamlessly, as a developer, set up a deployment package, get the operations team that package in their hands, and let them do the deploy on their schedule within their time frames. But the beauty of this is that that deployment will be validated from QA to prod, wherever you're moving from and to make sure that all dependencies are covered and that you won't move anything to production that will break something else that's been delivered and is being managed by the Agile platform. So it's a very, very powerful capability that truly streamlines your delivery processes. So, to sum it all up, the Agile platform lets you really address the surprising cost of change issue. From a development perspective, we will dramatically reduce the time and the expense it takes to deliver new application functionality. On average, our customers see a 50% reduction in time and cost. On the maintenance side of things, through our dependency analysis and our non-functional requirement capabilities, the cost of maintenance will go down dramatically. You'll be able to embrace the business, make changes on a much more rapid basis with a lot lower risk and impact to change. And then last but not least, your operational teams will become much more efficient through the one-click publishing capabilities of Lifetime and the ability to make sure that when something does go wrong, they have everything that they need at their fingertips to resolve the problems. So, here's the obligatory logo wall. We've got shops of all different sizes who are successfully using the Agile platform today, from the U.S. Army to mid-market companies like Sheetz, Panda Express, U.S. Gas and Electric. Well, many of these companies have case studies on our websites. If you're curious to learn more, I encourage you to go to outsystems.com and check it out. So, the Agile platform. Get on top of the change problem today. With fast development, we can help your developers be 10.9 times more productive. We've proven this. We can help you build web and mobile applications with the same skill set, dramatically simplifying the challenges you're facing on the mobile front. And we streamline the whole handoff to operations from a deployment perspective, making sure that all the non-functional requirements are covered and your applications are secure and easily monitored from day one. So, OutSystems, why wait? Start saying yes today. To learn more, as I said, go to www.alsystems.com. Thanks for listening.